Chapter 1. At the far end of a green valley, on top of a very big hill, you'll find a white house with a mossy roof. And on the top floor of that house is an attic room with slanted eaves and windows taped with drawings, some drawn with crayon and some made with markers. And some very good ones, too, for the little girls who live in this house love to draw and color and do so every day. The room is filled with toys and books and after-school projects, including experiments and homemade musical instruments that the girls like to make from stuff from around the house. Center stage on the carpet of this attic room lies a curious girl with big sparkling eyes and a nose for adventure. Her name is Sophia, or Soso for short. She has just spent the greater part of the afternoon and much of the evening creating a complex city out of blocks, complete with a castle, a bridge with diving boards on the sides, and a petting zoo for well-behaved dinosaurs. Because every city needs a petting zoo for well-behaved dinosaurs, don't you think? Just as Soso's placing the very last block on the very tallest tower, the playroom door flings open. Roars a not-so-scary saber-toothed tiger cub, standing on her hind legs with her arms outstretched. Soso is unused to saber-toothed tiger cubs storming into the attic like this, especially ones who wear diapers and look mysteriously like...
Lena, you're supposed to be in bed. But me hungry,
Lena replies in her most convincing saber-toothed tiger cub impersonation. She pounces, and with her tail, she proceeds to knock over the tallest castle turret, which knocks over the bridge with diving boards, which crashes into the petting zoo, making all the well-behaved inhabitants run around trying to figure out who turned out all the lights. You get the idea. Within seconds, the entire block city goes kablooey, which makes Soso really mad. Mad enough to stomp her foot. Unfortunately, Soso stomping her foot makes Mama downstairs really mad too, because she just spent the last 20 minutes getting their little brother Adam to sleep. Soso, I just got your baby brother to sleep, Mama calls up the attic stairs.
But Mama, Lena...
But before Soso has time to explain, Mama somehow manifests herself at the doorway of the attic room. Another one of her many superpowers, like being able to see out the back of her head or be in multiple places at once. Lena, how on earth did you get out of your crib?
That's exactly what I was thinking,
says Soso with her hands on her hips.
Also, Lena's being super naughty because she crashed my whole block city and now I have to start all over again.
Lena sticks her tongue out at Soso. So naturally, Soso tickles her back, which makes Lena roar in response. Just as you would expect a saber-toothed tiger cub up past her bedtime to do, which naturally wakes their baby brother Adam in his crib downstairs, who Mama has just spent the past 20 minutes getting to sleep. Soso, I'll read you a story in a little bit. And Lena, it's bedtime for tigers, says Mama, taking the saber-toothed tiger cub by the paw and leading her out the playroom door. Soso, maybe see what Aba's up to, suggests Mama, with not a little growl of her own. Chapter 2. If you have been watching all this, you might be thinking right about now, who's Aba? Good question. To find the answer, You need to fly from that white house with the mossy green roof all the way north until you find some red cliffs filled with dinosaur fossils and beaches of amethyst crystals. At this point, hang a sharp left and you'll see a big river. And if you follow the river past the mountains, the river splits in two around an island with a big mountain in the middle. Near the mountain, there is a lake inhabited by ducks and their ducklings, geese, seagulls, blue herons, and cormorants. And just north of there, you'll find a street with big trees whose broad leafy branches overhang old brownstone houses with dainty curved staircases. Walking down that street, you'll find a woman wearing a yellow trench coat and red rain boots and carrying a blue umbrella. This is Aba, and she hums a curious melody to herself, accompanied by the birds singing in the trees, cutlery dinging on dinner plates from tables on balconies across the way, and church bells ringing in the distance. Aba hears music everywhere, and sometimes sees it too, in colors of the rainbow, but we'll get to that later. She goes up the squeaky yellow stairs to her plum purple apartment door. From inside her apartment, she hears an old record playing opera. And she knows exactly which opera, too. Caruso listens to it all the time, and it's been driving Aba a little nutty. Well, nuttier. Who's Caruso? He's Aba's super handsome but perpetually grumpy tuxedo cat with a red bow tie and a penchant for opera. Aba lets herself into the apartment, puts her blue umbrella in the umbrella stand, hangs up her yellow trench coat, and slips off her red rain boots. "Caruso, I'm home," she calls. No response. Aba is long used to Caruso being extra grumpy when she is late coming home for lunch. But fortunately, Aba knows just the thing to rouse him from his grumpy mood. "Caruso, lunchtime!" Immediately, the record screeches to a halt, and a fuzzy streak of cat bolts out of the front room and down the hall after Aba into the kitchen. Caruso knots his napkin around his neck and awaits in gleeful anticipation as Aba glides around the kitchen in her rainbow socks as she puts together tea. Caruso watches her feet go back and forth, like he's watching a tennis match. Every time she comes near him, he grins widely, but Aba doesn't pay him any attention. Caruso, expecting a fresh batch of sardine-flavored cookies, is not amused when Aba pours out a cupful of less than inspiring-looking kibble out of an oversized bag marked Diet Yum. In Caruso's opinion, it looks more like gravel you put on the sidewalk in winter to keep from sliding around on the ice and falling on your tush than anything you would want to eat for lunch, especially when you were expecting delicious sardine-flavored cookies, no less. Caruso furrows his eyebrows and pouts, and then he flicks some Diet Yum off the top to show his disapproval, and it skids across the floor. The kettle whistles. Aba pours her tea into a mug covered with musical notes, just as the tablet on the table signals an incoming video chat. "Who could that be, Caruso?" Aba says, as she sits down at the table with the mug of hot tea. Soso's face pops up on the screen, and Aba lights up. Nothing brightens her day more than seeing her niece.
"Hey, Aba. Hi, Caruso."
Soso is one of Caruso's 3 top favorite humans in the world. He leaps up onto Aba's lap and purrs hello. Not to Aba, mind you. He's still pouty about being put on another diet. No, he's purring hello to Soso, of course. "Are you ready to continue our adventure?" asks Aba.
"Definitely,"
replies Soso. Okay, Aba says as she fishes out from her box of musical toys a particular rainbow-colored xylophone.
Where did we leave off?
Chapter 3. The girls find themselves outside Aba's plum-purple apartment door at the top of the squeaky yellow stairs. Only this time, they don't squeak at all. As Aba hops down the stairs, each step makes the note of a scale.
Whoa, Aba, your staircase is just like a xylophone. Did you know that?
So says, jumping down the stairs too, making her own version of the scale. They land at the bottom of the stairs where they see a hopscotch game drawn on the pavement. What does jumping hopscotch sound like?
Like this,
says So. Each square in the hopscotch game rings a different note. So jumps from square to square and creates a jaunty tune from major seconds and major thirds.
But wait, hot lava,
yells So. Low minor seconds and minor thirds rumble ominously as hot lava creeps around the hopscotch squares. Soon, Aba and So are standing on little square islands floating in a river of red-hot lava. Whoa! Watch out! Don't fall in or we won't be able to finish the rest of the book.
This is super wobbly. Whoa!
I can't watch. You're giving me heart palpitations just narrating, you two. Excuse me, can I finish narrating the story, please?
Sorry.
Do go on. Thanks. Soon Aba and So are being carried away down the sidewalk on a riverbed of hot lava. What do? Asks Aba, looking down at the red-hot lava beneath her.
Jump?
Says So. Jump? What do you mean jump? We're surrounded by hot lava, says Aba.
I don't know, Aba. Like this?
And So leaps between hopscotch squares down the now bubbling city street. Wait for me, Aba yells, trying to keep up. But she is not as spry as she once was once upon a time. The lava gets thicker and deeper and hotter, and the hopscotch squares spread further and further down the street.
This is getting serious,
says So.
We're gonna have to make bigger jumps.
Aba, still out of breath from the previous jumps, gasps. Bigger jumps?
Yeah, watch this.
And So makes the jump easily. Aba, on the other hand, not so easily. Making So giggle, Aba furrows her brows in dismay. What are we gonna do now? Asks Aba. So has an idea.
We need a pterodactyl to pick us up or something.
Suddenly, glissandos peel out of the air as a pterodactyl swoops down from the sky.
Here he comes,
says So. Here who comes? Replies Aba. What the?
It's a spotted pterodactyl belonging to the taxonomic order Pterosauria,
says So, remembering from her big picture dinosaur book at home.
As big as 250 pounds, with a 30-foot wingspan and an ability to soar to dizzying heights.
And with that, the pterodactyl grabs him in his gigantic talons and sweeps them up into the air. Aba looks queasily down at the city becoming smaller and smaller below. Now, when you say dizzying heights... Chapter 4. I don't know if you've ever flown in the grasp of a pterodactyl before, but they soar pretty high up in the clouds. And that's precisely where Aba and Soso are, so far up in the clouds that below them, Aba's island city looks like a tiny pebble in the river. And soon the river becomes a sparkling blue ribbon cutting through beautiful mountainscapes, after which the river gets so wide they can't see either side. Where do you think they are? That's right, the ocean. Below them, fish and dolphins and whales all come up to say hello.
Did you know that humans weren't the first musicians on the planet? Whales have been singing for 30 million years,
remarked Soso, who has just finished reading a big picture book about whales. 30 million? Really?
And did you know that birds have been singing for 100 million years?
As you can tell, Soso loves to read about birds too. Speaking of which, honk honk. A flock of Canadian geese fly past in a huge V pattern. And suddenly, Aba and Soso feel like they're stuck in traffic in afternoon rush hour before a long weekend. Attention, droite, says a particularly rude goose in a hurry. Aba is taken off guard by the whole flock of honking geese barreling past them. The spotted pterodactyl tightens his grip and glides on an air current all the way to a land tucked among mountains and cliffs on the other side of the ocean, to a giant forest. Not a forest of giants, but a forest of giant trees. The giant sequoia, wider than a fire truck and taller than the tallest skyscraper, is the tallest tree on Earth. And it is on the very tippity top of the tallest of these giant trees where this spotted pterodactyl has made his giant nest.
Merci, Jean-Pierre,
says Soso as the pterodactyl releases her from his giant talons.
Bienvenue, mes petites,
he replies with a caw, flying off into the distance to find something delicious for dinner. Aba turns to Soso. Jean-Pierre? She says in bewilderment.
Yeah?
Soso replies nonchalantly. Aba takes a few seconds to process. That pterodactyl's French is better than mine, Aba remarks, looking down over the side of the nest.
That's not hard, Aba,
replies Soso. Hey, I heard that, says Aba.
The question is, how do we get down from here?
Asks Soso. Is there an elevator? Asks Aba.
Aba, don't be silly. We gotta climb down.
Down? But down is a very long way away, says Aba with a nervous gulp as she looks over the edge of the nest.
Not if you just take one branch at a time. Like this,
says Soso, jumping down to the next highest branch with the agility of an acrobat. Aba follows behind, or above, I should say, each branch making its own musical chord as they jump on it. What are you, a monkey? Aba asks, unable to keep up.
Yup.
Ha! I knew it. It is only when they are more than halfway down that Aba seems to be gaining confidence in her own monkeying abilities. She manages a bit of somersault, although not exactly intentional, and lands on the next branch below.
Not bad, Aba,
says Soso. Aba turns around, looking pretty smug with herself, but then she slips and falls the rest of the way, belly flopping to a musical splat on the forest floor, like someone sat on a piano by accident. By contrast, Soso floats down with all the grace of a flamingo in a tutu.
Aba, you hear that?
Soso whispers. Hear what? Aba replies, still picking twigs lodged in her eyebrows and bugs out of her teeth.
That.
What?
There.
Where?
There. A red-winged blackbird,
Yells Soso, pointing up towards the trees.
I see him. Do you see him too?
And in the branches above them, there's a very handsome red-winged blackbird singing a very pretty song. Wow, remarks Aba, pulling a pair of binoculars out of her tushy pocket.
And there's Chickadee. Aba, come on. Get out your sound recorder,
Says Soso. All right, good idea, replies Aba, as she pulls a sound recorder out of her other tushy pocket and presses record.
And look, Aba. They're baby ducklings following their mama,
Says Soso, pointing towards a small pond.
Aww, how cute. Take a picture, Aba.
Aba takes a camera out of her other tushy pocket. Soso looks over at Aba.
How many tushy pockets do you have, Aba?
I don't know what you mean. I only have one tushy, says Aba.
But you have 3 tushy pockets.
3? Exclaims Aba in astonishment. Well, counting was never my strong suit. How many ducklings are there, for instance?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wait a minute. What happened to 6? Asks Aba. Soso points to a duckling, popping her head out from the water.
6.
Soso replies with all the confidence in the world. Aba recounts each of the ducklings, using her fingers to help her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're right, Soso. There are 10, she exclaims with glee. But when Aba turns around, Soso is gone. Chapter 5. Soso? Aba calls out. She turns around and around the other way. Yoo-hoo! Crickets. Aba scratches her head and looks around the other side of the giant sequoia. Behind is a cliff face made of chalky white stone, covered with vines and shrubbery. Aba just can't understand how Soso has disappeared. Do you know? She calls again. Soso, where are you? She hears a muffled rumble coming from deep within the cliff face. And then the leaves of vines and shrubberies pull back like a curtain, revealing a familiar pair of big sparkling eyes.
Here, Aba, I found something. Come on.
Soso leads Aba past the curtain of vines, into a tunnel right into the cliff. A creepy cave? Should we go in?
Definitely. Do you have your flashlight?
Aba pulls one out from her 4th tushy pocket and switches it on before giving it to Soso. Soso goes first into the passageway. The path gets darker and darker and becomes narrower and narrower. Suddenly, Aba smacks her forehead right on a stalactite hanging down from the cave ceiling. Ouch! Soso swings the flashlight over to Aba, who rubs the purple welt emerging from her forehead. Something curious behind Aba grabs Soso's attention instead.
Cave paintings. Huge eagles, Woolly mammoths? Saber-toothed tigers?
Again, a strange rumble resonates, this time sending vibrations throughout the cave and dust all over Aba's and Soso's heads.
Black.
What do you think that rumble is? An avalanche? An earthquake? Asks Aba.
Sounds like a giant snore,
Replies Soso. Another huge snore, followed by a loud snort, sends shockwaves throughout the cave, and a cascade of long white rocks comes crashing down at Soso's feet, sounding like a skeleton tap dancing on a marimba.
What's this?
Soso wonders aloud. She points the flashlight at the pile and gasps.
A pile of bones!
She exclaims. Soso picks up a bone from the floor and shows Aba. Bones? That's kinda creepy, remarks Aba.
Kinda?
Well, really creepy.
Super creepy.
But then Soso spots something even more curious.
Check this out, Aba. This bone has 5 holes in a line.
Aba takes another look and notices something else. Weird. It has a notch cut out of one end. See?
What do you think that is?
Aba blows a steady stream of air across the notch and changes the pitch by placing her fingers on the holes in different patterns. And it sounds just like an eagle call, to which Jean-Pierre calls back from the distant sky. Caw, caw.
Super cool, Aba. A spotted pterodactyl whistle.
Aba tries playing the bone flute again. F, G, A, C, D, remarks Aba. A pentatonic scale. Aba's delighted and elaborates the notes into a simple melody, even doing a little jig. Meanwhile, behind her, a pair of big blinking eyes pop out of the dark above her.
Aba?
Yes, Soso.
Did you notice that the roaring, snoring sound stopped when you played the spotted pterodactyl whistle?
No, but here, listen to this jaunty tune I just made up. And Aba keeps on playing, totally and utterly oblivious to the giant, saber-toothed tiger cub with massive sharp fangs towering above her, licking her lips. An enormous slimy drool drips from the massive fangs right onto Aba's head. Chapter 6. Soso stands with her arms crossed.
Lena, how naughty! What are you doing out of bed? Again! I was hungry, and then I remembered you and Mama and Nana made chocolate chip cookies this afternoon, and I thought there could be some left downstairs in the kitchen. So then what? You got lost going back to your room? No, I came up to find you because I need help. Since when do you need help eating cookies? It's easy. You can't have cookies without milk. It's a moral imperative. So just pour yourself some milk and go back to bed. But it's on the top shelf of the fridge, and I can't reach it because I'm 3.5. And I don't want to wake Mama, because she's kinda still growly at me from before. So can you and Aba get it down for me? Fine, but then you're absolutely positively going back to bed this time, okay? Come on,
says Lena, the giant saber-toothed tiger cub, as she leads them into the cave kitchen. In the middle of the table is a plate of cookies, each cookie bigger than Aba's head, even with the purple welt. Lena opens the gargantuan stone refrigerator door with her massive furry paw. A big gush of Ice Age cold air pours out, making Aba's hair stand on end and her boogers freeze up.
See? It's up there on the top shelf. I can't reach.
She points with her claw extended. There was absolutely no way that any one of them could reach it. Unless...
What if I balanced on Aba's shoulders and she balanced on yours? You could give it a try.
So they give it a try. With her newfound monkeying skills, Aba climbs all the way up onto the giant saber-toothed tiger cub's shoulders. And Soso does the same onto Aba's, only with 2 leaps, a skip, and a bounce, of course. But even with Soso standing on her tippy toes, the milk bottle on the top shelf is still out of reach. It is a giant saber-toothed tiger mama's kitchen after all, and the fridge, relatively speaking, is about 2 stories high. So the giant saber-toothed tiger cub, Lena, stands up on her hind legs.
This is awfully wobbly. Got it,
Soso says, careful not to disturb the balance. She wobbles to the right, so Aba wobbles to the left, which makes saber-toothed tiger cub Lena wobble to the other left. And just as Soso manages to pull the milk bottle, which is the relative size of a small bookcase, from the shelf, the whole group, plus milk bottle, come cascading to the floor in a massive thump. Lena catches the milk bottle in her massive furry paw, just in time.
Phew, that was close,
Lena says.
Any big noises and saber-toothed tiger mama would know exactly what I was up to. She does have eyes in the back of her head. No kidding,
Lena says as she leaps over to the stone table and pours milk into the 3 giant saucers.
Sit down,
says the saber-toothed tiger cub as she jumps up on the table. Aba looks at Soso. Soso looks at Aba. Aba looks at Soso. They both look at Lena. The saber-toothed tiger cub laps up the milk out of the saucer in true saber-toothed tiger cub fashion. Soso and Aba follow her example. Within seconds, everyone is sporting a serious milk mustache. Wait a minute, is this lactose-free? Asks Aba.
Aba, of course not. When saber-toothed tigers roamed the earth, grocery stores didn't have lactose-free milk yet.
Oh, says Aba, scratching her skull.
Lena, this is serious. We gotta get you back before Mama finds you out of your crib again. But you and Aba are up.
To be fair, it's only 4 p.m. where I live. See? Says Aba, pointing to the array of world clocks on the cave kitchen wall, and subsequently knocking over the giant milk bottle, which shatters on the floor with a huge crash.
Aba!
Suddenly, a roar echoes from somewhere in the deep, dark recesses of the cave. Chapter 7. What's going on down there? roars a giant, growly voice.
Giant saber-toothed tiger mama heard us. If she finds out you're out of your crib, we're all in big trouble.
Like timeout trouble?
Like no chocolate chip cookies for a week trouble.
That's big trouble.
Boom, boom, goes the ominous sound of the giant saber-toothed tiger mama coming down the cave stairs, which incidentally sounds an awful lot like dark, scary minor chords on the low register of the piano. Boom, boom, boom.
We've got to run for it.
They scamper through the tunnel back to the cave entrance, Lena and Soso jumping over stalagmites and Aba dodging stalactites. Boom, boom, boom,
We'll never make it in time,
says Soso. We've got to try, says Aba, just before that same infernal stalactite smacks her again right in the middle of her forehead, knocking her off her feet with a plop.
Come on, Aba, there's no time for dilly-dallying,
admonishes Soso. Lena sees the light at the end of the tunnel.
Almost there.
She yells. Soso tosses the bone flute back to Aba.
Here, Aba, call Jean-Pierre for help.
Good idea, says Aba.
Who's Jean-Pierre?
Asks Lena.
You'll see,
answers Soso. And with that, Aba makes the special caw sound on the flute. From the distance, Jean-Pierre screeches, flying in for the rescue, just as the girls make it to the cave entrance.
On y va, Jean-Pierre, vite. We gotta get Lena back into her bed, tout de suite,
calls Soso. Jean-Pierre sweeps them up in his immense talons and carries them into the sky, banking into the direction of the white house on the top of the hill with the mossy green roof. Does anybody have a towel? I'm still coated head to toe in saber-toothed tiger drool.
No, Aba,
replies Soso. What about a moist toilette?
No, Aba.
A packet of baby wipes?
Check your other tushy pocket, Aba.
Got it. Chapter 8.
Hurry!
Says the saber-toothed tiger cub Lena as she scrambles under the covers, just as Mama comes up to the top of the stairs.
Shh!
The door squeaks open. Mama peeks in and sees Lena, pretending to be sleeping soundly. A little lullaby on a toy xylophone plays sweetly in the background. Mama gently closes the door, casting the room back into shadow.
That was close,
says a not-so-inconspicuous lump at the foot of the crib.
Aba, play the lullaby again,
says Soso. You got it, Aba replies, playing the lullaby one more time on the little toy xylophone beside her at her kitchen table. And by the time Aba finishes the lullaby the second time, she hears a little tiger cub and a little monkey snoring on the other end of the line, and a tuxedo cat